Hello and welcome back to the Red Bull Ring, Austria. Beautiful weather still remains in Styria, oder in Steiermark, if you wish, auf Deutsch, of course. We are just about to see the first of the 3 races of Central European Zone Formula 4 Championship, and we are happy to have a huge grid of cars. Actually, we have more than 20 cars, which is much more than the whole last season, and of course more than we had on a Balaton Park in Hungary, where the season of Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship had started. So we're gonna see another thrilling race of Formula 4. And we will be focused, of course, on the home hero, because we have Oscar Wurz on the grid, the son of a legendary former Formula 1 or LMP1 driver, Alexander Wurz, and he's leading the championship after a great weekend in Hungary, after scoring 68 points from the first race weekend. So Oscar Wurz from Austria, the home hero, is the leader of the championship, and let's see what this race will bring to us. So let's have a closer look on the starting grid. It is Kamal Murat, the driver number 70, starting from the pole position. The driver of PHMI AX Racing. And it is Davide Larini, another son of former Formula 1 driver, next to him on the front row. 5 red lights are out, and we are racing for the first time with Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship here on the Red Bull Ring, and it is a great battle between the 2 teammates into the turn 1, and I believe it is the Italian driver Davide Larini who is in the lead right now. It was a great start from the young Italian as he managed to overtake his teammate Kamal Murat, but once again it's a great fight between the 2 teammates into the turn 3. Both goes wide, and the battle is still on. Still great battle between the BHM Racing teammates. So 2 drivers of a German team fighting each other for the first place in the opening lap of the race. So with this close fight between Davide Larini and Kamal Murat, behind them there is one black and blue Jensen Motorsport car, and I believe this should be Ethan Ischer. Also very young and talented Swiss driver who was racing in Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship also last year. But let's check the gaps right now. We have the drivers on the main straight of Red Bull Ring circuit, and it's a Davide Larini ahead of Kamal Murat, Andrej Petrovic on P3. So top 3 positions right now occupied by 3 BHM Racing drivers. So great team performance from this German team so far. There was one of the Jensen cars on the pit lane, and it was a car without the front nose, so there had to be a contact, and there is one car on the grass. Tough battle between one of the Jensen cars and another BHM Racing car, and most likely there is a damage for one of the Jensen cars. So one of the Jensen Motorsport cars got damaged, and that's of course bad news for a Swiss team, and there is another Jensen car and the barriers, and it's a safety car. Dramatic start of the race, and safety car needs to be deployed because we have a one car in the barriers, and there was another car with a damage, so pretty unfortunate start for two drivers. It should be Nathaniel Berebi from Mafia Racing who was forced to enter the pit lane. And there are another two Jensen Motorsport cars dropping down the field, so let's check who was involved in the dramatic incidents during the first and second lap. And unfortunately, it was Ethan Ischer. It was also the Czech driver Max Karhan, and most likely also Andrea Kostic. So 3 Jensen Motorsport drivers had a big troubles after the beginning of the race. So that's the reason why we have a safety car on track right now. At the opposite, it was a great start by the Italian driver Davide Larini, the son of Nicola Larini, who is leading the field right now ahead of his teammate from PHM Racing, Kamal Mrad, and Andrej Petrovic also from PHM Racing on P3 right now. Enea Frey on 4th place. It was a great start of the race for Enea Frey. Maximilian Popov, another PHM Racing driver on P5. So between the top 5 drivers right now we have 4 PHM cars and 1 Jensen Motorsport car. So far it's a great race for PHM Racing. Behind Maximilian Popov, it's Oskar Wurz, the championship leader on P6 right now. The young Austrian, the son of the former Austrian Formula 1 driver Alexander Wurz on P6. Luca Visorano on a P7. Then the Slovakian driver Mateusz Ryba, also the son of a racing father, on P8. Chinese driver Shimo Zhang on P9, and Jonathan Correa right now is closing the top 10. So these are the top 10 drivers currently driving slowly behind the safety car. As we can see that the marshals are already working on the track and putting one of the Jensen cars behind the barrier. So I believe we will be able to restart this race very early. And it has been confirmed already. Safety car in this lap. So at the end of this lap, the race will be restarted. This is the second season of Central European Zone Formula 4 Championship. The first season last year was dominated by the first ever champion, the Swiss driver Ethan Ischer, who took 8 race victories and claimed his championship title just 2 points ahead of his teammate from Jensen Motorsport, Renaud Francot. And we will see who will become a champion this year. So many talented young drivers, fierce and dedicated and ready to fight for the first big open wheel championship crowd. As I said previously, after the first race weekend on Balaton Park, it's Oskar Wurz in the best position to do it, leading the championship with 10 points advantage ahead of Kirill Kutskov. But right now it's an absolutely great race so far for BHM Racing drivers. The race is restarted. We have the green flags again, so let's be focused on Davide Larini leading the field into the turn 1 ahead of Kamal Brat, Andrei Petrovic on P3, Enea Frey on P4 and Maximilian Popov on P5. They are 3 wide. Wow, what a battle between the two Jenser cars and another driver. It was 3 wide into the first corner, which is not that wide, as you can see here on Red Bull Ring. Meanwhile, there is a fight for the first place, and Davide Larini is having a hard time because he needs to be defensive right now. And of course, there is also hard time for Kamal Mrat at the moment because Andrei Petkovic is trying really hard to overtake him, but he was not successful at his first attempt. I believe there was a 1 car off track in turn 4, or maybe it was at turn 3. Maybe we will have a replay of that situation, but the good news is we are still green. Oh, we are not. Safety car again. Safety car again, so most likely 1 car has stuck outside of the turn 3, and that should be a reason why we have a safety car again. Oh no, it's another car, another place. And it is number 31, Kirill Kutskov. And this is bad news for a championship contender, because as I said previously, Kirill Kutskov is currently on P2 in the overall standings, just 10 points behind Oskar Wurz. So Kirill Kutskov is definitely going to lost some points in the championship fight against the Austrian. So bad news for a young Russian. So Kirill Kutskov had to stop his car on the track. Safety car 1 more time deployed. And once the whole field pass the standing car, the marshals will be able to put car of Kirill Kutskov behind the barrier, and we will be green again. So it has been quite unfortunate race for Mafia Racing Car so far. Firstly, it was Nathaniel Berebi who got some damage and dropped down the field. And right now it is Kirill Kutskov who was forced to retire his car, who was forced to stop on the right side of the track and left the cockpit. So pretty unfortunate Saturday for Kirill Kutskov. But his car has been already loaded on the track, so this, I believe, won't be a long safety car period. And where is Oscar Wurz at the moment? He's on P6, so it is not that bad for the Austrian driver. Oscar Wurz started the race from P8, so he already gained 2 positions. So Oscar Wurz is fighting to maintain his championship lead. And by finishing 6th, he would be taking 8 points, which means he would be on 76 at total, which is not bad after 4 races. But anyway, it still will be a long season, and we know very well that, for example, Davide Larini was not racing on Balaton Park, so he is going to score his first points of the season here on Red Bull Ring. So it still will be tough for the Austrian driver Oscar Wurz to remain on the first place of the overall standings till the very last season of the race, which will take a part on his home soil again. It will be on Salzburg Ring. But right now, let's get back to the race, because we have a green flag again. Less than 10 minutes to go, and it is still the Italian driver Nicola Larini on P1. So it's still P1 for Davide Larini. He's there just ahead of Kamal Mrat, and Kamal Mrat needs to be defensive. He needs to go on the inside of turn 3, because Andrej Petrovic is very close behind him. And right now it will be fight side by side between Petrovic and Mrat. And I believe that Andrej Petrovic took the 2nd place. It should be Andrej Petrovic on the inside. In the meantime, it was almost contact between the 2 drivers of BAM Racing, and there is Enea Frey behind the wheel of black and blue Jensen Motorsport car, and the Swiss driver is already taking the advantage from the fight of the 2 teammates. Enea Frey is there between Kamal Mrat and Andrej Petrovic. This was pretty unfortunate for the 2 teammates colliding with each other. It was not that bad actually, it wasn't a crash, but it was a contact, and if you make a contact, doesn't matter if it is with your teammate or someone else, it always slows you down, of course, and Enea Frey took the advantage from that incident, so it's a P3 for Enea Frey, Andrej Petrovic on P2, and Kamal Mrat is down on P5. He made another mistake in the last corner. So far it is not a good race for Kamal Mrat, who was starting from the pole position, and he's losing the positions, and that's not a good situation for Kamal Mrat. Meanwhile, still Davide Larini up in the front with a good advantage over Andrej Petrovic on a 2nd place. It's almost 1 second and 4 tenths between the 2 drivers. Enea Frey on a 3rd place, Maximilian Popov on P4, Kamal Mrat P5. And Oscar Wurz still on P6 at the moment. than 7 minutes to go at the moment. Davide Larini was a bit slower than Andrej Petrovic in the last lap. The gap is less than 1 second between the Italian driver and Andrej Petrovic behind him. It's still 1-2 for BHM Racing. And afraid the Swiss driver on P3 as the best from the Jensen Motorsport drivers. Maximilian Popov behind him, and Oskar Wurz is on P5, which means that the young Austrian overtook Kamal Mrad, who is on P6. Luca Visseranu on P7, Matouš Ryba, the Slovakian driver, on P8, Shimo Zhang P9, and Jonathan Correa on P10. So that's the top 10 at the moment, as we have 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go. It seems to me that Andrej Petrovic is still being a bit quicker than Davide Larini at the moment. 9/10 of a second between these two drivers. And let's check it one more time. We are on the main straight, and one more time Andrej Petrovic has been faster than Davide Larini. Less than 8/10 of a second between the leading driver and Andrej Petrovic on a second place, with also Enea Frey getting closer and closer. But Enea Frey needs to be careful, as Maximilian Popov is quite close behind him, and maybe he will be able to use the slipstream to try to overtake Enea Frey and get himself on P3. He still has time to do it. Another fight, and this is Maximilian Popov, as I said. Maximilian Popov versus Enea Frey, and it looks to me that Maximilian Popov took the third place, actually. Yes, the black and blue Jensen Motorsport car is behind him. So this was a great job by Maximilian Popov, racing for BHM Racing. And one more time, we have 3 BHM Racing cars on P1, P2 and P3. Great job by the German team and its drivers. 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go here on Red Bull Ring. It's still Larini up in the front, followed by Petrovic and Maximilian Popov on P3. Enea Frey drop down on P4, Oskar Wurz on P5, and we can see the situation very clearly right now. And we can see that Oskar Wurz is also quite close behind Enea Frey. So with 3 minutes remaining, I would say it's still possible for Oskar Wurz to fight for P3 in this race. But look at Enea Frey right now. Enea Frey will be trying to get his third place back again. But also watch Oskar Wurz with another Jensen Motorsport car. This will be a tight battle for P3 during the remaining 2.5 minutes of this race. Warning for number 20 for not respecting the track limits. That's a Slovakian driver, Matouš Ryba, currently on P8. It has nothing to do with this fight, but all drivers need to be careful about respecting the track limits. But look at this fight, look at this fight. Great battle behind Enea Frey. This is the race between Oskar Wurz and Kamal Mrad. Oskar Wurz in Jensen Motorsport car, and Kamal Mrad starting the race from pole position on P6 in a PHM racing car. And the battle goes on, and there's a contact! There was a contact between the two cars. There was a contact, but fortunately not a crash. So we don't have a safety car again, which is a good news, because it would ruin the last 1.5 minutes of the race. This is Oscar Wurz in the white car with number 25 of the rear wing end plate. And it's a tough battle between Oscar Wurz and another drivers around him. But also Maximilian Popov and Enea Frey together gained the advantage over the rest of the group. So there is a gap between Enea Frey and Oscar Wurz on P5. So let's check the gaps on the main straight one more time. It's a 0.4 of a second between the leading driver Davide Larini and Andrei Petrovic on second place. Behind them is Maximilian Popov ahead of Enea Frey. And behind them it's Oscar Wurz ahead of Luca Visoreanu. So right now it is Kamal Mrad on P7 and Mateusz Ryba behind him on P8. And there is a battle for the first place. There is a battle for the first place between the two teammates. Andrei Petrovic managed to overtake Davide Larini, but one more time, this was quite tough. This was quite tough because one more time we are speaking about a fight between the two teammates, and there is a danger of a crash, danger of a contact in every corner, and the battle still goes on. Great battle for the first place between Davide Larini and Andrei Petrovic, and it will be battle till the very last corner. Of course, if something not going to happen between these two. So let's check it side by side from the last corner. And where's the finish line? It is here. So who is the winner? Who is the winner? And it is Andrei Petrovic. It is Andrei Petrovic. And the difference between the two cars on the finish line is just 100 of a second. This was ridiculously close racing between the two teammates from PHM Racing. But so far, Andrei Petrovic is the winner. At the moment, Andrei Petrovic is the winner. We will check later for the possible penalty for not respecting the track limits. But right now, Andrei Petrovic is the winner, ahead of Davide Larini on second place. P3 for Maximilian Popov, P4 for Enea Frey, P5 for Oscar Wurz, P6 for Luca Visoreanu, P7 for Kamal Mrad, P8 for Mateusz Ryba, P9 for Ethan Isher, P10 for Jonathan Correa, P11 for Shimo Zhang, and then it is Miroslav Mikeš, Lukas Savu, Andrea Kostic, Everett Stack, Jan Koller, Marek Micik, Nathanael Berebi, Viktor Dobrzanski, Michalina Sabaj, Cornelia Olkucka, and Franciszek Halatnik on P22. So what a race it was! What a race it was! Great start of the weekend for all the drivers racing in Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship, and it was absolutely great battle between the two teammates from PHM Racing, with Andrei Petrovic taking the victory with the very small advantage. It was only 100 of a second between Andrei Petrovic and Davide Larini. Great fight till the very last corner. And I believe this was a great race to watch. So one more time, it's Andrej Petrovic from Serbia ahead of Davide Larini and Maximilian Popov. And Afrey, the Swiss driver, on P4, Oscar Wurz on P5, the best Romanian in this race, Luca Visoreanu on P6 ahead of Kamal Mrat on P7, starting previously from pole position. So Kamal Mrat won't be satisfied with this result, but anyway, we still have 2 more races to go, and I believe it will be always action-packed and thrilling racing till the very end. Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.